Hello guys, happy Wednesday by the time you guys see this. I hope you're all getting on all right with your home learning. Well done to those people who have been online and who have sent in your work and who have been engaged in all the activities that we've sent for you to do at home. It's really good to see so many of you online and being busy with those activities. So I am going to be reading you a horror mystery story, which fits in really well with the English work that you have been doing on your scary stories. It's called Room 13 and it's brilliant, really brilliant. It's one of my favourites. So let's get started. So chapter 1. This is what Fliss dreamed the night before the second year went to Whitby. She was walking on a road high above the sea. It was dark. She was alone. Waves were breaking at the foot of the cliffs to her left, and further out, the moonlight made a silver path on the water. In front of her was a house. It was a tall house, looming blackly against the sky. There were many windows, all of them dark. Fliss was afraid. She didn't want to go inside the house. She didn't even want to walk past, but she had no control over her feet. They seemed to go by themselves, forcing her on. She came to a gate. It was made of iron, worked into curly patterns. Near the top was a bit that was supposed to be a bird in flight, a seagull perhaps, but the gate had been painted black and the paint had run and hardened into little stalactites along the bird's wing, making it look like a bat. The gate opened by itself, and as she went through, Fliss heard a voice that whispered, "The gate of fate." She was drawn along a short pathway and up some stone steps to the front door, which also opened by itself. "The keep of sleep," whispered the voice. The door closed silently behind her. Moonlight shone coldly through a stained glass panel into a gloomy hallway. At the far end were stairs that went up into blackness. She didn't want to climb that stairway, but her feet drew her along the hallway and up. She came to a landing with doors. The stairs took a turn and went on up. As Fliss climbed, it grew colder. There was another landing, more doors, and another turn in the stair. Upward to a third landing, then a fourth, and then there were no more stairs. She was at the top of the house. There were 4 doors, each with a number: 10, 11, 12, 13. As she read the numbers, door 13 swung inwards with a squeal. "No," she whispered, but it was no use. Her feet carried her over the threshold and the voice hissed, "The room of doom." In the room was a table. On the table stood a long, pale box. Fliss thought she knew what it was. It filled her with horror, and she whimpered helplessly as her feet drew her towards it. When she was close, she saw a shape in the box, and there was a damp, earth-like smell. When she was very close, the voice whispered, "The bed of dread." And then the shape sat up and reached out for her, and she screamed. Her screams woke her, and she lay damp and trembling in her bed. Her mother came and switched on the light and looked down at her. "What is it, Felicity? I thought I heard you scream." Fliss nodded. "I had a nightmare, Mum." Poor Fliss. Her mother sat down in the bed and stroked her hair. "It's all the excitement, I expect. Thinking about going away tomorrow." She smiled. "Try to go back to sleep, dear. You've got a long day ahead of you." Fliss clutched her mother's arm. I don't want to go, Mum. What? I don't want to go. I want to drop out of the trip. But why? Not because of a silly dream, surely. Well, yeah, I suppose so, Mum. It was about Whitby, I think. A house by the sea. House? Yes. She shivered, remembering. I was in his house and there was something horrible. It was after me. Can I drop out, Mum? Her mother sighed. I suppose you could, Felicity, if you're as upset as all that. I could ring Mrs. Evans first thing, tell her not to expect you, but you might feel differently in the morning, she smiled. Daylight makes us forget our dreams, or else they seem funny, even the scary ones. Let's decide in the morning, eh? Fliss smiled wanly. Okay. She knew she wouldn't forget her dream, and that it would never seem funny. But it was all right. She was in control of her feet. She wiggled them under the covers to make sure, and they weren't going to take her anywhere where she didn't want to go.